So as of recent, Manchester United have been heavily linked with former Ajax and current RB Leipzig striker Bobby Brobbey. The Dutchman is 20 years old and played under Ten Hag at Ajax when he broke through in the 2020-2021 season, but would leave at the end of that season as his contract expired. He joined RB Leipzig last summer, but after 14 appearances without a goal, he was sent back on loan to Ajax, where he would then go on a good goal scoring run, scoring 7 goals in 11 Eredivisie games. But how good is he actually? But before I go any further, if you need a place where you can keep up to date with the latest transfer news, find all the match stats you need from games across the globe, and watch highlights and stream live football matches, then you need to download the OneFootball app. I use the OneFootball app because it's completely free, and not only do they have stats and transfer news, but they also have videos to watch and articles to read, which is where I get a lot of my ideas for new videos. And as I said before, you can stream live football matches and watch highlights all on the app. Downloading the OneFootball app will help support the channel as well, so I'll leave it linked in the description below. Aesthetically, Brobbey is an extremely noticeable player, having a physique similar to Romelu Lukaku's, being incredibly strong in his upper body, but also being electric across the grass. He's definitely what you would call an advanced forward who, almost like a poacher, retains a high position on the shoulder of the last defender, looking to provide a penetrating run in behind or make a movement into a goal scoring position from a crossing situation. He does drop off from the forward line on occasion, though this is usually when he's being used in a front two, as he was on occasion alongside Sebastian Haller, and so in a front two, Brobbey tends to play as the deeper of the two forwards, making runs off of the target man alongside him, who is the striker out of the two, who will receive the direct vertical passes to his feet or chest, whilst Brobbey makes a forward run off of his deeper movement. Prior to his promotion to the Ajax senior side midway through the 2020-2021 season, Brobbey had scored 9 goals in 17 games in the Dutch second division, and then managed 3 goals in 12 Eredivisie appearances later that season in just 190 minutes of football. That season he also scored 3 goals in 6 games and just 138 minutes in the Europa League. And that continued after his dry spell at Leipzig, as he returned to Ajax with 7 goals in 12 Eredivisie games last season. So Bobby Brobbey is a capable goal scorer, having a good awareness of where he should be positioned when the ball is in different areas of the final third. When the ball is in a deeper position, he'll look to provide a run in behind, whereas when the ball is on the flank, we see Brobbey take up a position where he can look to make a run off of his marker into a goal scoring position when the cross comes into the box. And this is why a lot of these goals come from within the 6-yard box and almost exclusively within the penalty area. However, he hasn't played an extended period in senior football, with his playing spells at Ajax broken up with that Leipzig move, and so it's hard to tell whether Brobbey is a physically dominating goal scoring forward, or if he's just able to do this in youth football due to his physicality against players who are less physically developed. What could happen is that when Brobbey comes into a top senior league, the centre backs he's up against are a lot more physical and a lot more experienced than the defenders he would have faced in youth football, and to an extent in the Eredivisie as well. And so if Brobbey is over reliant on his size and strength, it will become apparent quite quickly, and Brobbey's goal scoring ability could be completely nullified, and he'll just be seen as a physical unit and just that. But if Brobbey can continue to develop his off the ball movement in the box and his finishing, then he could very well be a striker in the mould of someone like Didier Drogba or Alan Shearer, a target man who is also a poacher like goal scorer in the box. However, I do think it's going to take Brobbey a while to develop, and I don't see him fully developing into this top level forward, if he does at all, until at least his mid-20s, as I think his game is far too accustomed to youth football, and I think he could struggle with the full-time transition from youth to senior football. I reckon if he signed for Manchester United, he'll have a season in the squad or maybe go on loan in January and look pretty impressive. He'll come back to United and struggle for first team football, go on loan again and end up more as a loan player for the future rather than a squad player for the present. I could see Brobbey being one of those players who disappoints after an early move to a big club, but moves away after a bad few years and then refines his form in a smaller league before making a leap back to the top level. However, at the moment I just don't see him being what United need. He's going to cost around 15 to 20 million pounds, but even if Ronaldo leaves, I think United need a better short-term replacement, and Brobbey certainly isn't ready to be the main striker. Ideally he'd be third choice or he'd get a loan move, as I think a loan move for the long term would be the best option. Maybe wait until January after giving him a few appearances in the first half of the season, but likely he won't be guaranteed the game time that he needs to develop. I think a loan move to the Championship could really suit him, being the exact type of striker that a lot of sides require, having the physicality as well as the goal scoring instincts in the box that are usually what sees a striker thrive at that level. Alternatively, he could also go to a lower position club in Ligue 1, as I feel that France develops more physical players better, and so I think a move to the Championship or Ligue 1 could help Brobbey refine his game, and whilst not having the creative or technical ability outside of the box, he could still be a top level advanced forward, being a poacher inside of the box and a target man outside of it. But for Manchester United right now, I'd say it's a bit of a mess signing. I wouldn't say it's a bad signing, but for me, I don't see either club or player getting what they want out of the move. United need an incoming striker to be a second choice centre forward option and a finisher from the bench, either to add an alternative attacking threat in some sort of way, or just as a replacement for the first choice centre forward. I would class Brobbey as a young prospect who should be the third choice striker or be allowed to leave on loan. The reason for this is that, in my opinion, second choice strikers ideally would be poachers, or what I refer to as finishers, players who may not be great in the build-up or have the movement in behind to trouble a high back line, but they are able to create chances for themselves in the box and a good finisher when in those positions. And whilst I think in a season or two Brobbey could have these qualities to a level needed to be regularly relied on by Manchester United, right now he needs game time to develop those abilities. United need a reliable goalscorer from the bench who can come on and provide a potent attacking threat, even if their game is pretty limited to this, but most top sides rely on some type of poacher, or better described as a finisher from the bench. Think Solomon Kalou at Chelsea from 2006 to 2012, when he rarely held down a position in the starting 11, but would always contribute to goals at crucial moments. And this can also be said for former Manchester United strikers like Javier Hernandez, Luis Saha and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who were all players who rarely commanded a starting position, being third or sometimes even fourth choice striker, but providing a goal scoring impact off the bench. Some other examples of notorious substitute finishers in the Premier League are Daniel Sturridge, Jermaine Defoe and Divock Origi. I think United should instead pursue a more established centre forward with a consistent track record of scoring fairly regularly when they play. For 20 to 25 million, Manchester United could get Moussa Dembele, who's in the last year of his current contract with Lyon. As whilst he isn't a top level striker overall, he is a consistent high output goal scorer, ranking highly for non-penalty XG and non-penalty goals. He's 25, so still not at his peak age yet, and so could improve further. Unlike Brobbey, Dembele would provide United with a serious threat off the bench, playing as a main centre forward, being an aerial threat from crossing situations and offering a threat in behind the back line. He is a similar style to Brobbey, with both players having the same sort of strengths and playing style. However, Dembele is a few levels above Brobbey at the minute and is a proven goal scorer in one of the big 5 European leagues, and he's not an old player by any means, still only 25, nearly 26 himself. I even think that Olivier Giroud could be a good option as a backup striker, who would certainly be able to play the role of a target man in Ten Hag's forward line, dropping off and being able to link the attack, whilst also providing a goal scoring and specifically an aerial threat in the box. And you can see from his FBref report that he still ranks fairly high for goal scoring metrics like non-penalty XG and non-penalty goals, whilst also dominating in the air from an offensive and defensive point of view. I reckon between £5 and £10 million would be enough to sign him, and he'd probably command a 1 or 2 year deal with a salary of around £5 million per year. Yes, Giroud or Dembele would be on higher wages than Brobbey, but I think overall they are better value for money, being the exact type of short-term, high-level finisher that United need from the bench. I see Brobbey as a third-choice striker who could do with an initial loan next season before returning to United the season after, if he is indeed signed by Ten Hag.